Hi, and welcome to another free.volous episode. First of all, it's too hot to look cute. I have my window open, so some extra sound may come in, but it is what it is. But let's start the video. Today I thought I would do an overview of the past kind of 6 months of new products that I've purchased, not necessarily new to the market, but new for me, and let you know which ones were my favorite and a couple of disappointments. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'll show you hopefully some shots of me applying most of the products, I think, so you're all good and set to go. And let's start with base, which is a bit of a more boring part, but it has kind of been a game changer over the past couple of months, I'd say. The first thing is a powder, a setting powder, and I like my setting powders. I usually like them finer, more like they let the luminosity of my skin show through and all of that. But when it comes to summer, it gets really hot. I start getting really oily. I have combination to oily skin. I'm no stranger to dewy finishes. I embrace the dew most of the time, but sometimes I just want my makeup to sit tight on my face and not go anywhere without it still looking makeup-y or heavy on my face. And it's a tall order. And I've seen a few influencers talking about this, and people who are not fans of actually very heavy makeup, full glam makeup, that kind of stuff, baking. But this powder, I think, was meant to be for baking. But regardless, they raved about this powder, and although my values somewhat do not align with this brand's owner, this is an excellent powder. It's the Huda Beauty powder. I think it's something to do with baking. I don't have my glasses right here, so I'll put everything on the screen, and as usual, links for everything in my blogs. I have mine in banana bread, and basically with this powder I was expecting it to kind of mattify and expand the wear of my makeup more than those more lightweight powders that I use in the winter time, and it did that. But also when I apply it to my face, and I don't know if that's readable on camera, which is something that I want to address, is that this kind of smooths my skin in a beautiful way, but it's still absolutely undetectable on the skin. It's impressive, and I can apply a good amount of it if I want to without it becoming, you know, extremely heavy on the skin. It's kind of like you see those influencers who have just recently discovered the wheel, applying high coverage powders on their face and everything looks very smooth, the kind of marshmallow skin trend. I've seen that. I've tried several powders that promise that, but those on me usually don't do that in real life. On camera they look amazing, but then in real life they look heavy, they start to break down and, you know, cake up, emphasizing my wrinkles and all that. This doesn't. Of course, I don't apply powder on my under eyes. I prefer to leave my concealer slightly tacky so that I can just pat it back down, because powder on my under eyes really cakes everything up and makes it look extra wrinkly. But on the rest of my face, it just smooths everything over, makes everything look very, very seamless. And my makeup lasts so long and so well without, you know, breaking apart, without clumping, without, you know, chipping off. You know, when you remove sometimes makeup and a big chunk of it just comes off and you have a big spot of bare skin, and it's very noticeable. This doesn't do that, and after a few hours my oils start to seep in. The luminosity comes back if I have actually gone full ham on the mattifying aspect, but I can also leave my, for instance, my cheeks bare and just set the lower part of my face where I touch my face a lot and I can't feel lots of stickiness or I'll be really icky. So this has been a remarkable powder. I wasn't expecting that it would at the same time smooth my skin that well and kind of not fill in the pores, but make them appear smaller, and at the same time prolong the wear of my makeup so well. Really, I'm surprised. And the other product regarding expanding the wear of my makeup, you know that for a few years I've used the Urban Decay All-Nighter setting spray. Then I upgraded in a way, because I think it's a few notches better, to the Mist and Fix by Makeup Forever, which is the one that I've been using up until now. But recently I used it up and I decided to get the Pore Eclipse by Milk. And this is a few notches even better than the Mist and Fix. It's still wearable on the daily, you know, using it every day. I have one by Kryolan that is absolutely hairspray for the face, but I wouldn't feel comfortable using that one. This one is great. It sets my makeup. It doesn't kind of look weird. Some people complain about it being mattifying. Again, I have combination to oily skin. I haven't noticed it changing any kind of finish that I have put on my face. It just keeps it in place. But some people with drier skin may have different experiences. But regardless, for me, this has been amazing. The pore eclipsing feature, I wasn't expecting it to have that. And for me, it doesn't. But overall, this is better for me than the Mist and Fix. So if you're going for a kind of high-end Sephora kind of brand makeup setting spray, this is a good one to go. The only thing with this is that the mister sometimes clogs and it doesn't distribute everything evenly. The Mist and Fix was also not the best mister, but it's still usable for sure, and it's very good. And these two with a more long-wearing self-setting foundation like my Dior Backstage or even the Lisa Eldridge one, these are just almost smudge-proof for the whole day. No worries. Now, something for the complexion that has kind of disappointed me is the Natasha Denona new concealer. It's a fairly recent purchase that I've made, and I watched all the videos. I knew it ran really light, so buy a couple of shades darker than you think you will need, or than it looks on the website and all of that. But regardless, I still ended up getting too light of a color for me, but I can still sort of make it work. I have it in 4Y, which is the yellow color. The Y I was sure would be my color, because everything usually runs to peachy or pinky for me. So if they have a yellow, that's what I go for. But the thing is, this is a thick concealer and it's not very spreadable. And it is sort of self-setting. I can feel it's still slightly tacky on my under eyes. The thing is, I feel like I've seen this applied on people that it looks like it smooths everything on their under eyes. I have a bit of texture on the inner corner of my eyes, which makes it look a bit, not alligator skin, but a bit bumpy in a way. This, when applied with a brush, is just, it's crackle city. It makes me look like I have those flaky bits. It's just not flattering at all. I can make it work with my fingers, and especially applying a touch of the concealer on these ridges here and then blending it upwards. But it is finicky, to say the least. And I know that lighter shades tend to emphasize texture if it's not the right color for you, but I don't think it's that's doing what I'm mentioning. It's really the formula of the concealer, and I was quite disappointed because the way they sell it, yes, it's matte, but it's very smoothing. And you know, Natasha Denona, I think, is around my age or maybe older than me, so I thought she would have that into consideration. But I also have to remind myself that these people have lots of money. They can do some interventions that will erase some of the problems that then us normals have to deal with regardless. And this kind of emphasizes dryness and texture on the inner corners of my eyes. So it's a dud for me. Now, another dud. I think I mentioned this, but I had to talk about it. It's the Patrick Ta Major Lamination Brow Gel. Listen, it's not terrible, but I apply this and my brows have already fallen down. And as soon as I'm applying it, I already am getting bits that look like dandruffy bits, you know, those dried up gel bits that show up eventually, and it starts to crumble with any makeup that I have, and even if I don't, anything that is stuck on the skin will become a flake of sorts and will paste up, and I really don't understand the hype, or my brows are too stubborn. I don't know what's up with that, but this didn't work for me. I'm trying to use it up. I have several other brow products because I was trying to, you know, push my brows up and make them look pretty, but not much has been working for me, at least in the long run. The Too Faced one was good, but then it started to dry out and it started to go dandruffy on me. I mean, not the best look. Not the best look. Help! Now, off the beaten track, I have a few brushes to mention, which is something I hardly speak about on my channel. I mostly use the same brushes for years. I have mostly Real Techniques, Zoeva, and then a few Sephora Pro ones. That's the majority of my collection, then a few odds and ends. I recently found this one at Sephora. I don't know how recent this is, but for me it is recent. It's the Pro foundation brush in number 47. It's this one. It has this kind of, they call it the kitten paw applicator. And for me, this has replaced that need to apply the foundation with a brush and then go in with a sponge. And this has kind of erased that step. I just go in with very short strokes, almost like patting motions. And it is fantastic applying any kind of foundation up until now that I've tried. I just haven't tried it with very thick, creamy foundations. It's the only thing that I haven't tried it with because that's more for the winter time for me. But with liquids, every single foundation that I've used, this is fantastic. It's super soft, super gentle. It gets into the crevices of your face. It's just delightful. It blends out if you do these more wider kind of swiping strokes, and if you pat it on kind of like this, it's just flawless application every single time. I have been using this so much that I have completely cleared up almost all my foundation brushes, and I wash this every night to have it available for the next day. Basically, if I'm using a self-setting foundation that grubs everything on the bristles, I kind of wash it every night. So it's a fantastic brush. I'm planning on buying at least one more, and I wish they had a smaller one with the same shape because I think that would be perfect for the under eyes. Just saying, Sephora Pro brushes are really good. They're quite expensive. This is about 25 or 26 euros, but these are worth the investment, and this one especially is absolutely fantastic. Their more flat brushes are also really good, but they don't accompany, you know, the shape of the face as well as this one. And this kind of gathers that kind of the brush, the classic brush application with a more spongy or kabuki brush top in one. It's phenomenal. Now let's talk about the cheeks. The first thing I want to talk about, because this was a highlight of my year, it's a subscriber of mine. She sent me a few more things that she wasn't just jiving with, and one of the things that she sent me several precious things, but the one that I've been using the most is this blusher by RMS. It's in French Rosé, and it's just a glowy blush that is absolutely gorgeous. It does remind me a lot of Camellia. I've compared it. It's a bit less pink. It has a touch less of blue, I'd say, than Camellia, and it's a bit lighter, not as deep as Camellia. It's a delightful blush. I've used it so much, and it gives a beautiful glow to the cheeks. It doesn't emphasize texture too much. It's just gorgeous, and I love to check out some other colors from RMS because of this. I'm being a good girl and not doing that because Pat McGrath had some sales, so I decided to get some things. I didn't buy any eye products. I was a very good girl, but I was really curious about her face products. I wanted to try blushes and highlighters. You know, her Instagram is very edited, but her models' faces look absolutely gorgeous and dewy and shiny and juicy. The word is juicy. And so This was on sale for 20-ish euros. So for me, this was worth it. You know, it's a trio of face products, 2 blushes, a matte blush, this one, a luminous blush, and then a highlighter. This is from the Bridgerton collection, so it was from January, February last year, and I just thought this was a good value, and trying 3 different formulas from them all at once was a great bet, and I think that was a smart move. What can I say about this trio? For each one of these products, I have a different opinion. The matte blush that I have here, this one is called Cherish. It's a beautiful matte blush. It looks really nice on the cheeks. It's very pigmented, but it blends out fairly easily. It is a very good matte blush. Would I buy full price for it? Unless it is a very specific color that I really, really want and I can't find elsewhere. I'd say, for instance, Auden's Eye has a very similar formula in their matte blushes. So depending on the color that you want, you may want to save a few bucks and get a matte blush from elsewhere. Now, the second shade, the one in the middle, is called NEVAH, and it's a luminous blush. It's a luminous formula, and this is the star of the show for me. It is a gorgeous formulation. It gives you that kind of sheen on the cheeks, but it doesn't emphasize texture or anything. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is what I'm wearing today with a little bit of the RMS on top. They're very similar. The RMS is more pigmented, I'd say, than the Pat McGrath one. And if I were to splurge on a blusher from Pat McGrath or on a face product from Pat McGrath, it would be this one. It's just really, really stand out for me. The thing is, when I go to the Pat McGrath website looking for luminous blushes, the color selection is not my favorite. So I'm glad I have NEVAH, which is a more, you know, neutrally shade that has a bit of sheen. It has a bit of a peachy sheen, but it's still, you know, a neutral base. So I love it, and I think she should expand this shade range for sure. Now, the biggest disappointment for me was the highlighter. Again, you see Pat McGrath's Instagram, those videos, those cheeks always look fantastic. I know they're very filtered, very edited, but this is borderline gaslighting people, in my opinion, because the highlighter itself just looks, the shade that I have is Venus Nectar, and it just looks like, you know, those old school times when we didn't have, at least in Portugal, we didn't have highlighters available for us. Buying online was quite difficult. So we kind of dug through our metallic eyeshadows and applied it to our cheeks. This is the same thing. It just looks so metallic and texture enhancing on the cheeks. I think it will look amazing on camera, but again, the same as with the Huda Beauty powder, I'm not interested with how it looks on camera. I want it for real life, and in real life it just looks too old school of a formula for me. That's a disappointment. Another product I got, also a blusher from Pat McGrath, was Flirtatious, because this again was very cheap. I don't know why. I'm not complaining. How does one open this? Here we are. And this is a beautiful shade. It's a very, very subtle shade, and I'm going to use it more in the winter time when I'm paler and I'm not going for bold cheeks or anything. And it's a gorgeous color. It is a matte blusher. Now I wish she would do a kind of more luminous version of this kind of color, maybe with some pink, light pink, or even lilac-y shift. It would be amazing. It's pretty similar on the pan to NEVAH, but on the cheeks, this one has that kind of very neutral, beigey, pinky beige, and this one goes a bit more to the peachy side because of the reflection. So I wish they did this one with a cooler reflection. That's my opinion. Now let's talk about eyes, and the first thing I want to talk about is these beauties. These are the Singe Beauty eye brushes. Singe Beauty is a very recent brand. brush brand for now, created by Angelica Nyqvist. She's here on YouTube. I especially love her deep dives into indie makeup. I got to indie eyeshadows because of her, and she mentions several European brands and all of that, so I love her channel. And she has recently founded and created her own brush company, and these are the brushes. And the special thing about these brushes, these for now come in a set. I think she's planning to come out with them individually, but the special thing about these is that they are small, except for this one, which is the normal blending size of a brush. These are very small blending brushes. And I have very small eyes, I have wrinkles, I have hooded eyes, so everything that helps me to have precision but still blend is a blessing. And I have been almost exclusively using her brushes, and then she has two flatter brushes that are amazing also. Also, again, small, great for applying to pack on color. These are so good, so good. They are just soft enough, they don't prickle your eyes or anything at all, but they are very precise because they're small. And I'm super grateful that someone came out with very small blending brushes, and can't wait to see what she's coming out with next, because I'm trusting Angelica quite a lot. Now let's talk about eyeshadows. I have bought a couple of palettes these past few months, but this one is the highlight of my life. For now. This is the Muse palette by Cosmic Brushes. You've seen me mention Cosmic Brushes quite a lot. I love their formula. They're a British brand, so you'll have to pay customs if you live in the EU and you order these, at least in Portugal, but these, again, are worth it. This is a very affordable brand, and their formulas are absolutely up there with some very, very, very expensive brands that happen to have been featured in this video. That's just my opinion. The mattes apply beautifully. You can easily pack them on with no difficulty. Most of the times I don't even use a primer, and then you can blend them out very easily. They blend into each other. They're meant to be together, and then the shimmers are gorgeous, and the color stories are very, very interesting. I love Muse. I love Serenity, which was the first one that I got from them. And yes, I have the new, I think it's called Delights, on the way. Yes, I know. Leave me alone. And last but not least, yes, last but not least, let's talk about lips. This was a surprise. I wasn't expecting to like these as much as I did. These are the Pat McGrath glosses. I'm as surprised as you are. Are they worth full price? I don't know. Pat McGrath constantly has sales on her website for a reason. Just saying that. So just wait for a sale on their website. And the customs are included. The only thing is the shipping. I've had reports of people that have lost their packages, and things are not the best. The time it takes in America, then they can complain. For me, it takes the same time as any other thing arriving in Portugal. So I really like these glosses. The texture is so smoothing on the lips. It's so cushiony. It's a liquid lip balm, I'd say. And then the sheen is gorgeous. It fills in the lines. It doesn't emphasize your lines in a weird way. It has, the pigment has a bit of opacity. Just keep that in mind. But I must say, I'm in love. I bought two colors. Again, I can't read them. The lighter one, I thought it would be a bit lighter than this. I wanted it to be kind of a, you know, a milky, light nude gloss. It's still really nice. It looks amazing. I'm not complaining. I just wish that I had bought a lighter one, but this looked lighter, at least for me, in the website. The darker one that I bought is, according to Matilda on video here on YouTube, a nice, close color to Clinique Black Honey, which I used when I was young, and it was its first time on the market or something. And because these were on sale, I decided to get this one, and I thought maybe I should get a nudie one. And that's why I bought both. They smell of MAC lipsticks, just saying. But somewhere between MAC and Kiko, if you've smelled them. Super nice, I don't mind that. And they're really delightful to wear. And they are quite long wearing on the lips, which is another thing that I wasn't expecting. Again, are they worth full price? It depends for many people, but for sure, when she's 30% off the full website, go check it out. They are some of the best glosses that I've tried, and I don't usually fall for high-end glosses. I like my Kiko glosses, for instance. So yeah, and that's it. These are all the products that I wanted to talk about today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, thumbs up. Comment down below if you've tried some of these products, what were your experiences with them, and what you want to see next from me. Subscribe if you haven't already and you want to know more from me and hear more from me. And as always, thank you for spending your time on me, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!